my name is Jenny Lin.
My name is Vivian Wenli Lin.
I'm Charlene Liu.
My name is Bethany Montagano, and I'm the director of USC Museums, and that comprises both the Fisher Museum of Art on campus and then also the USC Pacific Asia Museum as well.
Another beautiful country has to do with the artists and their subjects' imaginings of America, oftentimes when they left from Taiwan, Hong Kong, mainland China, imagining America as this other beautiful place that they could raise families and become prosperous.
The exhibition, I think it really seamlessly aligns with our mission, which is to promote intercultural understanding in the service of elevating our shared sense of humanity.
I met Jenny Lin a few years ago, and she had been talking about this wonderful idea of hers for a very long time. And she actually approached me because she knew me from a previous work. The work that I made is called the Joy Luck Mom Club. And the Joy Luck Mom Club is a mixed methods video project that's observational, participatory, interview-based. And it explores themes around kind of untold narratives of migration, especially why the other generations keep secrets from us. And what do those secrets mean? Why do they hold them so close? Is it related to social stigma, shame, and trying to kind of break the taboos about keeping these kind of familial secrets so guarded and bringing them out in the open to talk about them. From this project, I interviewed several people. Everyone has a Joy Luck Mom Club moment, which is what I learned from this project. What was really nice was that giving that space to talk about it and to create a shared space to talk about these secrets, these shames, and to realize that that because we all have them, they are not so shameful.
I met Jenny because she was the assistant professor of art history at the University of Oregon, and I was a young faculty at the University of Oregon too in art. I put together an installation that is made out of different objects and cardboard, wood, and prints. The installation is called China Palace, and China Palace is the name of the restaurant that my mother ran. There's lots of very direct interpretations and remaking of elements and motifs from the restaurant, and I also made some prints that use the the ads that we used to run in a local newspaper. And in many ways, it's just a story about, it's a very universal story about immigration, coming to this country and starting a business and running it together as a family, and about growing up in that space.
The exhibition, Another Beautiful Country, has been a labor of love for Jenny Lin, but for all of the artists featured. Come to the exhibition because the museum is a beautiful place to be. The works are very emotive, very personal, and I think, especially for the AAPI community, to have a space like here, to have an exhibition that highlights kind of the AAPI experience.
For me, the show is pretty rich and complex, and it has a group of artists that have a lot of common ground, but we all approach it in such different ways. I also love that it's really specific to a Chinese American experience too, and that also it cuts across quite a range of regions. I feel like a lot of my experience is very formed from the American Midwest. And then there's another artist in there that maybe their experience is formed very much by being Asian American in California. And I think some of that sort of comes across in the work too, and also different generations. And in that way, the show is pretty fun and rich and touching and has many, many entry points and connections that any audience can enter into.
I think it's really raw, and it also speaks to the soul of the San Gabriel Valley as well. We talk a lot about stories and how we thread them together and how disparate some of our communities are. There's 100% a soul and a sense of humor and a love and I think a journey for a lot of these artists and a lot of the communities around here to understand the differences between themselves and their parents. You know, I think anybody can relate to that. Why are my parents the way that they are? And I feel like this exhibition answers that question.
I think it's really important for these voices to be heard. There's so much incredible talent and rich stories and artistic expression that's coming out of local AAPI artists. I think it's really important for people to come and hear their stories, hear their perspectives, see their artworks, which I feel have the capacity to instill in us a sense of empathy and give us a sense of kind of their own personal experiences, their families' experiences, which are all so very unique, but at the same time make us remember how as humans we're all very connected through food, through family, through life and death, through love and relationships. All of these are important themes that are at the forefront in this exhibition.